If it isn't broke, don't fix it. I think that's the motto Nissan was living by with the Frontier, because it took them almost 20 years to extensively refresh this midsize pickup and to make it a bit more on par with its closest rivals, such as a Chevrolet Colorado, Ford Ranger, and also the Toyota Tacoma. But better yet, we don't need to hear journalists complain anymore about how the interior needs to be refreshed, or that we need more technology, a more potent powertrain, or aggressive designs, because that's exactly what the 2022 model is offering. Now, my first time taking a look at the Frontier was with the Pro 4X trim, which I felt was a great first impression, but also a pickup that was cool, rugged, and also a great alternative to that Toyota Tacoma. Today, I'm sitting next to the SV trim, which I feel is actually to be more suitable for most buyers who are looking for a work pickup truck. One that gives you a good amount of performance, but also a good amount of towing and payload capacity, and also a great, comfortable interior. So in this video, we're gonna take a deep dive into the 2022 Nissan Frontier SV, check out all the features that this pickup comes equipped with, and also see why, if you are looking at buying a midsize pickup for under $40,000, then maybe taking a look at the Nissan Frontier SV might be a great decision. Now, I want to give a huge shout and thank you to Infiniti of Norwood in Norwood, Massachusetts, for allowing me to do this review. I also want to give a huge shout and thank you to Adam, who's the general manager at Infiniti of Norwood, for letting me come down here to check out the Nissan Frontier. The link will be in the description below, so you can check out their extensive Infiniti inventory. Now, before we get started into this video, the Nissan Frontier SV that I'm sitting next to today is priced at $37,990 at Infiniti of Norwood. So if you are interested in buying this pickup truck, make sure to reference this video, tell them that Boston Autoblog sent you, and they will definitely take care of you. Now, also before we get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you're notified every time a new video goes live on the channel. And so, without wasting any further time, let's get right in this review. In a segment that's evolved quite a bit with the arrival of pickups underpinned by unibody chassis, or the market-driven obsession with ruggedness and off-road worthiness, the Nissan Frontier has fundamentally remained the same since its inception, much like its closest rival, the Toyota Tacoma. With more buyers embracing the lifestyle that accompanies the midsize pickup, there's still a strong consumer base in need of a workhorse that can meet the demands and expectations of Americans who are towing or hauling. And it's the 2022 Nissan Frontier that's returned bigger and better than before to be the dark horse and surprising alternative to some of the hottest sellers in this segment. For those looking to purchase a brand new Frontier, the SV trim with the crew cab comes in with a starting price of just over $37,000. However, with the options equipped on this example, it will cost you north of $40 grand. What's made midsize pickups so successful and appealing is that they're durable and capable trucks in compact form, where buyers who aren't interested in a Titan or Tundra can find a happy medium that fits their budget but also daily requirements. With a towing capacity of 6,260 pounds and a payload capacity of around 1,300 pounds for the SV, the Frontier falls in line amongst its closest competitors in this market. And while it's not a class leader, it is a solid alternative to a Chevrolet Colorado or Ford Ranger. Despite not being as off-road worthy as the Pro 4X trim, the SV does have a ground clearance of around 9 inches. And thanks to the body-on-frame chassis, you shouldn't feel hesitant when taking on unpaved road surfaces. The reason why many were immediately enamored with the 2022 Frontier is because Nissan aggressively promoted the Pro 4X, which aesthetically speaking made quite the statement, but also mimicked the popular rivals when it pertains to overall exterior design that lacked quite a bit last generation. The SV, on the other hand, is a no-nonsense work truck that does have a lower profile and less assuming road presence, mostly due in part to the halogen headlamps for Frontiers without the SV Premium package that upgrades all the lighting to full LEDs up front, but also the body color matching trim that outlines the front grille, and no contrasting accents like we saw on the Pro 4X. As part of the SV convenience package, fog lights will provide additional lighting when traversing dimly lit paths. Moving over to the side profile, the SV does come equipped with 17-inch alloy wheels, with the ability to upgrade to a darker finish alloy wheel setup that was present on the Pro 4X. What should draw your attention is that the plastic cladding is kept to a minimum on this model, signaling to us that the SV was designed specifically for on-road use or for very light off-roading. You'll have body color folding and heated side mirrors, and as part of the technology package, you will have blind spot detection for added safety. Then coming around to the back, this Frontier has been optioned with a Class 4 tow hitch with a 7-pin wiring harness. But best of all, we already have the spray-in bed liner installed, so you can load up the bed of the truck immediately once you get the keys. Also equipped is a bed-mounted 120-volt AC power outlet and LED bed lighting to go along with the 4 tie-down points. It's this trim specifically that we'll discover offers a long list of features, but is also all about business rather than drawing your attention with a flashy exterior design. Under the hood, the Frontier is powered by a 3.8-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine, producing 310 horsepower and 281 pound-feet of torque, and is paired with a 9-speed automatic transmission, which for those wondering is not the same gearbox that's found in the new Nissan Pathfinder. For a pickup, the Frontier is pretty quick off the line, and on paper will outclass many in regards to performance, but it should be worth noting that compared to competitors built on unibody chassis, this pickup will feel heavier when cornering. For the drivetrain, we do have 4-wheel drive, which will most likely be the ideal choice, especially if you live in colder regions of the US. For fuel economy, you're looking at right around 17 miles per gallon in the city and 22 miles per gallon on the highway. Stepping inside, this model has the optional sandstone cloth seats, but leather upholstery is available through the SV Premium package, which also adds a power moonroof and the 10-speaker Fender Premium audio system. Since we do have the SV Convenience package equipped, these front seats are heated, with the driver's side being power adjustable. While not too aggressively bolstered, they are supportive, and might be the better choice if you're going to use this Frontier as your work truck. In front of you, between the analog gauges, a 7-inch digital display will be home to a variety of information, such as the power distribution when going off-road, safety systems, fuel economy, and also embedded menus for the driver assist and vehicle settings. We also have a heated leather-wrapped steering wheel today that's also found on the Titan. Then moving over to the infotainment system, the SV will come standard with an 8-inch touchscreen, with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility. If you decide to go with the Pro 4X trim, you'll receive the upgraded 9-inch display. Resolution and quality is on par with competitors, but specifically when compared to the Chevrolet Colorado, this head unit is superior. Mounted just beneath the screen are quick access buttons and radio controls, and also physical dials for the volume and tuning. Thanks to the dashboard layout, everything is within arm's reach, and buyers should find this touchscreen to be easy to use and navigate through. You'll also have a rear backup camera with trajectory to help you park the Frontier. Continuing on, our model has dual zone climate control, and it's here where you'll find the buttons for your 2-level heated seats, front and rear defrosters, and heated steering wheel. Mounted in the center will be a USB-C and USB input, and of course, you'll have on-demand 4-wheel drive, with the dial conveniently placed on the dash. For the center console, you'll have 2 cubbies for a smartphone or loose change. And as we discovered late last year on the Pro 4X, the Frontier does offer a wireless phone charging pad, but not for the SV trim. Then finally, to round out the front row seating area, for the center storage compartment, you'll have more than enough room for smaller items. Now moving on to the second row, much like I said during my time with the Pro 4X trim, the second row seating area is going to be rather tight and cramped, but not for the reasons you may think. This seat is adjusted most of the way back, and I still have a few inches of legroom to work with here, so for someone at my height around 5'5", it's rather spacious relatively speaking, and also headroom I think is more than abundant for someone on the height of maybe 5'8" or 5'9". But notice how my legs are bent. And I've actually done a few takes here that you guys never see. You never see the outtakes. But I've been sitting back here for about 5 to 10 minutes, and my legs are already getting sore. So if you do have taller passengers back here and you're going on a longer drive, they're definitely going to feel that. But then adding on to the fact that these seats don't recline, you're sitting in more of a 90-degree angle, while at the same time having your knees sitting more of in a ball form. So it's not the most comfortable or accommodating like we see for most pickups in this market. Now the backs of these seats are cushioned very nicely, so I won't be complaining about my back being sore, but my legs, I'm definitely feeling that for sure. Then moving on to the center seat, despite all my reservations for the second row, the center hump is not very aggressive at all, so you can try fitting in that third person back here, which I think is really great to see, even though it isn't the most comfortable option in this market. But I do think that if you are using this vehicle for your work truck, you have enough space where you can throw in some extra tools and equipment. And I think that's ultimately what you would be using this Frontier for. And then finally, taking a look at the driver's side, this seat is adjusted to someone of my height, around 5'5". And now I have enough room to stretch my legs where I'm not going to be feeling those leg pains at all. So if you have a shorter driver and shorter front passenger, I think you can find some comfort. But if you are the unfortunate one sitting in the second row behind someone around the height of 6 feet tall, prepare to do some stretches and maybe even get into a yoga class, because you're going to be feeling that pain. But surprisingly, for a pickup for this specific trim and price range, you do have a USB-C and USB input to go along with a 3-pronged outlet. So that way, if you do have tools in the second row, you can charge them up, and it just really adds a lot of utility to this vehicle. And rounding out the second row seating area, you do get a center armrest with 2 cup holders. When the 2022 Nissan Frontier first arrived at showrooms late last year, a number of journalists were wondering if Nissan did enough to make this pickup competitive, not only today in 2022, but for years to come. Because in the present day, you can say with absolute certainty that this pickup is better than the Ford Ranger, also the Chevrolet Colorado and Toyota Tacoma. But can we say that in 2024 or 2025, when the Ford Ranger is built on a Ford Bronco platform and Toyota has a refresh for the Tacoma, and maybe we start seeing some other significant overhauls in this market? But for 2022, and if you were to drive the Pro 4X trim, it's very easy to get caught up in what Nissan is offering, because you have more of that rugged look. You also have the graphics along the side, and it just looks the part. It looks like a pickup that you want to go off-road and have a lot of fun and have some adventures. Whereas the SV that I am in today is more of the middle-of-the-road pickup for the Frontier line, where it's more of a workhorse. It's designed that way, especially for the interior with these cloth seats. Now you can upgrade to leather if you go with the SV Premium package, which I would recommend if you're looking for more of a daily pickup for you and your family, whereas this is more of a purpose-built pickup that I think is just great for somebody who is a contractor, maybe going to construction sites throughout the week. And this is going to be more of your vehicle that you're going to get dirty and you're going to be hauling your tools in, because these cloth seats are going to be very easy to clean. Now, if you are a long-term subscriber and follower, you know that I filmed the Pro 4X trim, I think late last year, and I really liked it. I liked what this pickup was offering, especially with the 3.8-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine and also the 9-speed automatic transmission. It's a very peppy pickup, and it can get to speed very quickly. One thing that I really didn't harp on or really focus on was the fact that the steering is very heavy for this pickup. You feel the weight for sure, and it doesn't feel that maneuverable at lower speeds. Now, when you are at around 35, 40 miles an hour, that's where the steering does loosen up a bit, and you're not fighting the wheel at all, although you do get a pretty good workout in when you are driving maybe around town at around 10 to 20 miles an hour. I definitely noticed that for sure. Another thing that I didn't really focus on either, mostly because I was on more of a highway when I filmed the Pro 4X, is that the suspension is pretty firm and stiff. I mean, you feel every single bump in this pickup, even with the 17-inch wheels. But where I will give the Nissan Frontier credit is with its interior quality and also how quiet it is. There's not a lot of road noise entering the cab of this vehicle. There's no rattling when you're going over the bumps and imperfections. And you barely hear the V6 when you are just cruising around. Now, when you do get on the accelerator, that's where it does roar quite a bit. But pretty much it's relatively quiet in here, and it does feel pretty nice. These cloth seats do provide a good amount of support. They're not aggressively bolstered, but they provide a lot of cushioning, which is really keeping me very comfortable on this test drive. Well, the SV is your basic, straightforward, traditional pickup that is more purpose-built. I do like the features that it does offer. I also love the fact that Nissan does give you a number of packages to choose from, such as the SV Convenience package, but also the SV Premium package, where you can go with a heated leather-wrapped steering wheel and heated front seats, even when they are cloth, which I just think provides a lot of value to this vehicle, especially if you are using this as your daily driver and you'll be driving this around during the winter. I also love the 8-inch touchscreen that comes standard as well. Very easy to use, and I love the resolution and quality. It's certainly on par, and I think better than some of the rivals, especially the Chevrolet Colorado. Now, when it comes to overall vision in the Nissan Frontier SV, the A-pillars are actually rather thin, so they don't create that much of a blind spot. Then looking out in front of you, nice panoramic view. The hood does stick out a bit. It's nothing too aggressive or egregious, so you can see what's immediately in front of you. If there are some smaller objects, maybe a couple cones, maybe you're at a construction site, you don't really need to worry about that too much. Then looking out my side mirrors, they are decently sized. Also, they're perfectly placed as well, so I can see what's in my blind spots, and of course we do have blind spot detection. And then looking out back, nice clear view even with the headrest in the way, so you have a good amount of vision. Then when it comes to seating position as well, you do sit pretty high up, so you have a nice commanding feel and presence and view over the road. And also the way the window is shaped as well, you can see a bit more immediately to your left and also to your right. Now let's see what the SV is made of when we go on this little back road here. Personally, I'm not going to complain about the heavy steering. I think it fits the personality of this pickup quite well. And also it's what you expect for a body-on-frame vehicle. Yep, you do have the body roll there, which is to be expected. Very smooth steering, even though it is decently weighted. You don't really get too much feedback, but again, not something I would expect in this market. And then on the brakes, nice and strong, very smooth. Provides a lot of confidence, especially if you need to stop in an emergency. Now, I know a number of you are not going to want me to bring this up, but I have to as a journalist and be very fair when comparing a body-on-frame pickup to others in this market that are built on unibody chassis, is that compared to a Ford Ranger, a Honda Ridgeline, or Hyundai Santa Cruz, this is going to feel far more rigid and more rugged than those three pickups. So, as I said before, the Ford Ranger rides like a car. It really does. It feels like one. It's the complete opposite of a Chevrolet Colorado, whereas the Hyundai Santa Cruz, again, feels like a crossover, and the Honda Ridgeline is going to feel like a Pilot or Passport, but with a cargo bed. So if you're looking for something a bit more rugged and traditional, that's where the Frontier is definitely going to slot into place nicely, but also I think is a great one-on-one comparison against that Toyota Tacoma. So getting on the highway, let's see how the Frontier performs. Can certainly get out of its own way and get on the highway very quickly. One thing I do notice though is that from a roll, the Frontier really, it takes a bit more effort to get it up to speed, whereas from a dig, it just takes right off. So a lot of low-end torque, whereas when you are on the highway, you will need to floor it just a bit more. At highway speeds at around 65 miles an hour, it does feel very composed on the roadways. Now I'm starting to hear that road noise though, so that is to be expected just because you do have the bigger sidewalls on these tires. But honestly though, the road noise that is entering the cabin for this pickup, I wouldn't consider to be under par in this market. So if you were to ask me, do I recommend buying an SV over a Pro 4X, having driven both? What I'm going to say here is this: it really comes down to what you're looking for in a pickup, because if you're just looking for a workhorse and a work pickup, that's where the SV is more than enough. But also, it's the traditional pickup that we just don't see a lot anymore in this market, and we won't see when Toyota refreshes the Tacoma and Ford offers a new Ranger that's built on a Ford Bronco platform. You're going to see a lot more technology, more that cutting edge look and design, and it's just not going to fit what a lot of buyers are looking for. And that's why I think the SV for the Nissan Frontier is that perfect option. But also, I think it is going to age better, even though some people are going to question, well, did Nissan do enough? I think they did, because even though this is an upgrade from the last generation, it kind of mimics its predecessor, where it's just a bit more basic, it's a bit more traditional, and buyers in this market want that. So if you're looking for a vehicle that has a good amount of payload capacity and towing capacity, and you're just looking for a vehicle that you can go to work, maybe haul some dirt or mulch or a small boat, then this pickup is capable of doing that. Whereas the Pro 4X, I would recommend going with that if you're somebody that goes on adventures, wants to go off-road, and you want to have that aggressive design. That, I think, works perfectly for you. But the SV, for the price point, under $40,000, and the ability to go with a more premium upholstery or some other features as well, such as that moonroof, or maybe you just want to save a few grand and just stick with the heated front seats and a heated leather wrap steering wheel, that's where I think the Frontier is going to be very appealing and enticing to you. And that's why I would say that for a vehicle priced under $40,000 in this market, and currently with the automotive climate being as high priced as it is, I think under $40,000 for this pickup is a great value. So to wrap up my time with the 2022 Nissan Frontier SV, what are my final thoughts and takeaways for this midsize pickup, and would I recommend going with an SV over the Pro 4X or even a Ford Ranger, Chevrolet Colorado, or Toyota Tacoma? And what I'm going to say here is this, that the SV, I think, is really the pick in the lineup, because you can say the Pro 4X, well, looks cooler, it looks rugged, has the side steps, has more that off-road look to it. And I would definitely agree. I think it's the pickup that you pin on a wall and say, that is definitely cooler than a Toyota Tacoma. But the SV is more focused on being all about business and just getting the job done. And that's what I think a lot of Nissan buyers want, because if you bought a Frontier from the last generation, you probably don't care about a full digital gauge cluster. You don't care about a massive infotainment system. All you really want is a good amount of payload capacity and towing capacity, and probably a great powertrain under the hood. And that's what the Frontier is offering. And even though you do have an 8-inch touchscreen and you have a digital gauge cluster in between the analog gauges, you also have physical buttons as well. So buyers are going to love the traditional look, while also still having the new technology that I think plays really well for this pickup. It's a nice balance where it doesn't feel as though the technology is overriding your experience. But then when it comes to the on-road demeanor, this is definitely a body-on-frame pickup. You feel the bumps, you feel that ruggedness, but it has that capability to go off-road if need be. So if maybe you encounter some dirt roads here and there, this pickup, as it's designed, can certainly tackle those elements and that terrain. But what I also love about this pickup, and I talked about this during the test drive, is the fact that you have a number of packages to go with, where you can customize it, make your own, and really find the right balance that really fits your driving style and what you want in a pickup. And that's why I feel that if you're looking at buying a work pickup under $40,000, that's where I think the Frontier is a great option, and also a great alternative to a Chevy or Toyota. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Also make sure to follow me on Instagram at Boston Autoblog, so you can see what I'm up to and what vehicles I'll be featuring in the future. And I will see you guys next time.